Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. An incredibly frustrating game of football to watch, but nonetheless a lot of positives to talk about. For the first time in the last 3 games, I would say, we've not had a lot to rant and rave about on the positive side of things, so it was nice to see a little bit of something different today. Of course, it wasn't the result that we kind of wanted when we seemed in the position we were at half time, but we'll take it and we'll move on. Let's get into breaking down the 3 things we've learned and the rest of the game after the intro. Lille 2, Celtic 2, Celtic going up 2-0 in the first half and then throwing away the 3 points in the second. Look, on the surface, it may look as though it's a bit of disappointment and a bit of a failure being up 2-0 and throwing a game away, but this was a game that was always going to be difficult. It was a game that's beforehand, if you offered me a point, if you said it would end Lille 2, Celtic 2, considering the way we have been playing over the last 3 games and the response that Neil Lennon has needed from his team, I would have took that. I would have took a 2-0 beforehand. It's just really, really annoying knowing that we've came into the game, played the first half so brilliantly, took ourselves into a position at half time which looks so favourable and then threw it away in the second half to only get a point. Look, a point's going to come a long way. The games that matters is that back-to-back double-header against Sparta Prague in the next 2 match days. But look, we'll talk about the 3 things we've learned. We'll talk about the game as a whole. We'll start with the first half performance. Where has that been? Where has their performances been over the past 3 games against Rangers, AC Milan, Aberdeen? The ruthlessness, the clinical threat going forward on the counter-attack. Mohamed El-Yunusi being as good as he was in the first 45 of today's game. Where has all of that been? Neil Lennon came out in his press conference fighting. He was talking about how he was quite angered about the way that the media have been running these polls and the way they've been talking about him getting a sack and how he feels that there's no need for him to get a sack, and he spoke about the kind of the ambition that he fight back. And today, in that first half, that first 45 minutes, we've seen everything that I kind of expected from the side after what Lennon said. And I feel like there was a lot of things in Neil Lennon's press conference which I looked at and kind of laughed and I didn't agree with. But the performance, in the first 45 minutes, you can't take away anything from him or the team. They went out and they done a job. And it was brilliant to watch. We looked a threat, and I think everybody done fantastic. I don't think there was a bad player on the pitch in the first half. Shane Duffy perhaps still looks like a questionable character. Giving away the penalty, of course, was the biggest moment of the first half, but everybody else in the pitch, what an absolute shift they put in. They were brilliant, from Christie to everybody. Like, Christie was fantastic first half, both moving forward with the ball and even defensively. I thought Ryan Christie was brilliant today. On that, he was dealing with everything down their left hand side with ease. He looked like a natural and it was great. It's something we've not really seen of Ryan Christie. It was a complete new side to him. First half I thought Cham was good, McGregor was running the show, Brown looked solid enough, Laxalt brilliant. Look, first half there wasn't a lot of faults and we got 2 good goals out of it. El-Yunusi, everybody's crying out for him to pass the ball over to Cham for the first. What does he do? He scores an absolute belter, the finish. We need to take more of those chances. We have the capability to score goals like that. We have the players to do it. You've got your Yetis, your Edwards, your Griffiths, your El-Yunusis, your Christies. You've got players who can score goals like that, but sometimes we opt not to do it. We opt to play in and around the box and we just do too much. That was a prime example of what we can do when we use our heads. And it was brilliant. First half performance looked brilliant. Second half, it's typical of Celtic. I said it last week. You do really well at a point in the game. It was like AC Milan. The first 10 minutes last week we were great. We took our foot off the gas. What happened? We took our foot off the gas. We also can't ignore the fact that Lille are a team who are joint top of Ligue 1 this season. They have been defending really well, they've been attacking well, they've been very direct in their counter-attacks, they can hit very fast, their full-backs like to push up. They've been really good at certain scenarios, and those scenarios came into play. So we can't take away from the fact that Lille are a good team, and of course, whatever the manager done at half-time worked. They are a top side. They're not naive, they're not someone you could just write off at 2-0 down. You've got to give them the credit. But second half we took our foot off the gas. You've seen the possession stats, you've seen us going forward with the ball. We were nowhere near as clinical, we were nowhere near as attacking minded. I don't think we were as aggressive moving forward with the ball. We did take our foot off the gas and it came back to bite us. It's hurtful to see us concede from the set piece the manner we did. I think, it is harsh on Bain to say. I think it could have done better. The ball kind of goes right through him. Saved a penalty at the end of the day. I'm not going to give him a hard time. Defensively though, leading up to the goal, it was poor, and then we get the other goal as well conceded. Second half just wasn't ideal, and it was a a real heartbreak after what we'd seen in the first half. I was really positive and really confident we move into that second half with a similar form of ambition and aggressiveness that we had in the first, but we didn't. And ultimately, I think that was always going to happen. I think that Lille weren't going to sit back and let the same thing repeat itself in the second half of the game. So it is difficult to see. But as I said, if you offered me 2-2 before the game, I would have bit your hand off for the way we're playing. I think what was most important tonight was a performance. First half performance was some of the best we've played all season. Second half, questionable. I think a lot of players who played well in the first half didn't appear in the second. And Cham looked tired. It looked a shadow of what he did in the first. Mohamed El Younousi, I think the game for him was the story of his season. First half, he looks as though he's our best player. Looks like he could be a player of the season candidate. Second half, he's gone. He was making wrong decisions all the time. There was a lot of chances we had on the break in the second half where we just made the wrong choice. We made the wrong pass. And it was really frustrating. But ultimately, I'll take it. 2-2. We move forward now into a game which I think at the weekend was always going to be bigger for Neil Lennon, especially considering his place as manager and moving forward. I think the game against Aberdeen was always going to be bigger than this game against Lille tonight. So, we've got to take it the positives, and we've got to play with the same setup as we did in that first half, because if we can do it away from home in France, trust me, we can do it 10 minutes down the road at Mount Florida. So, very happy in the sense that we did see a lot more positives tonight. It is gut-wrenching to know that we threw away the chance of 3 points, but we move and we need to take those positives and the confidence we've seen in the team and move them forward. So, very quickly, what is the 3 things we've learned? Also, just want to add, Christopher Ajer, please, I beg of you, don't be out for too long, because you've been great recently, and I think we missed you in that second half tonight. Right, first thing we learned is something that I don't think will get spoken enough about, and it's touching on the man who I just ended off that part of the video there with. And I don't want to get in over my head, and I don't want to get too, rushing into it a little bit, but I think with the way we've seen him play, especially over the last 2-3 games, AC Milan, Aberdeen, and tonight as well, when he was on the park, I think Christopher Ajer is the best centre-half we've got at the club, and he was someone who I called the most overrated player at the club at the start of the season. And of course, when Duffy came in, I was blinded by that whole Premier League status, and he's the best centre-half in Scotland. We've all seen the clip of me on social media, but the last 3 games, Ajer's been brilliant. The authority, the presence that he brings, especially at set pieces, which we missed when conceding tonight, and just the kind of dominance that he can bring into certain scenarios. I think he is someone who, for me, over the last 3 games has shown why he is a constant start at Celtic. There's been a lot of talk that maybe Beaton comes in and replaces Ajer. We were looking at Duffy and Beaton being our centre-half partnership at one point. I think for me, Ajer is someone who I want in that team every week now. If he keeps playing like that, of course, Ajer is the type of player. The reason I called him the most overrated player in the squad is that kind of player who disappears every now and then as a shocker, and you question yourself if he is actually a centre-half. I think this year he is waking up to the fact that big clubs want him. He's played against AC Milan, he's seen the level of these clubs, and he knows he wants his future to be there. And look, if Celtic is a stepping stone for him, that is the reality of modern day football. And I'm not saying that's the kind of players I want at the club constantly, but if he's playing like that week in, week out to get there, I'll take it, and I want him on the team every week. No going to deny that or hide away from it. So Ajer, for me, hopefully that injury isn't long. And for me, I think we've learned that he is right now probably our best centre-half. I do like Beaton, and I would love to see Beaton get more time, but Ajer just right now is looking really authoritative in that role. I think that our striking options are going to be bolstered big time with Edouard being back. It's good to see him back in the park tonight. I think there was glimpses of good things from him, and it'll only get better. I think the weekend is probably going to be a big opportunity for him to try and get back in the score sheet, and also just back as the main man at Celtic. But I think up front tonight we've seen a real great sense of options open up for us. I think Ajeti looked great tonight. He was getting it tight from Chris Sutton, and this is the thing we learned. I think there's a slight agenda against Albion Ajeti at the minute. I think there's a lot of people who are against him, or maybe want to see him fail for some reason. I don't know why. Chris Sutton is someone who I've always admired from a journalistic point of view. As an aspiring journalist, of course, and as a student journalist, I've always liked what Sutton's had to say. I've always liked his writing. I think he goes on the TV, he speaks the truth, he doesn't hide away from things. But I think a lot of the things he's been saying about Ajeti over the past couple of games in the commentary booth anyway have been really questionable. I don't see a lot of negatives amongst Albion Ajeti right now. And tonight, I think that chance that he had in the first half, if Griffiths has that chance, he's scoring it. The exact quote I put on Twitter is, Griffiths scoring that every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. He is. Griffiths is going to do that, and that's why I want to see Griffiths start tonight. Take that away from Ayeti tonight. Take away that missed opportunity. I think he was really good holding up the ball, linked up with El Yunusi. I think there was a great deal of positives, and he's the kind of striker that Celtic could really benefit from in these European games. We've relied on Edouard for so long, but to have someone like Ayeti come in, if he's burying those chances on top of what else he's doing in these games, you've got, pound for pound, an absolute bargain of a player in there. So he needs to start converting those chances, but I do think there is this kind of a agenda building up against Ayeti among some of the media, and I'm not a big fan of it, because I think he's came into Celtic and he wasn't 100% when he first joined, and he still scored 5 goals off the bat. He then has a break from the team. He's not playing much football because of fitness and injury concerns. Doesn't go on international duty either. And he comes back, and yes, he's not scored since, but he's still been kind of recuperating. And at that, tonight, I thought his performance was very positive at points. And you seen it when he came off the park. I think Neil Lennon encouraged him highly when he came off. Even though Ayeti looked a bit disappointed, I thought he was good. I didn't think it was extraordinary. I didn't think it was phenomenal. But I thought there was a lot of positives. And I don't know if everybody agrees with me. I just like the little things he was doing with the ball when he had the chances and his movement and stuff. As John Collins said, the first half, as John Collins puts it, the passing, the moving, the tempo, it was all there in the first half, and Ayeti, for me, was a big part of that. The third thing we've learned from tonight is a massive confidence boost for, of course, I'm speaking from my point of view. These videos are all my opinion, but for me, a big confidence boost for the weekend now. For Aberdeen in the Cup semi, oh yes, massive confidence boost. I didn't have a lot of confidence before tonight. I was worrying about Hampden, but I think that after tonight's performance, we go into this game looking like favourites again. I think we're in a lot better position than what we were heading into Pittodrie at the weekend just prior. I think we look great now. Not great, there's still a lot of things to fix, but you know what I mean, just in terms of where we were, mentality-wise and confidence-wise as fans and as players before tonight's performance, and before Neil Lennon's presser yesterday, I think we were miles off it. And after tonight, I think it's gave us a great deal of confidence heading into that, and it's great. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm actually excited for the game, which could lead us to another cup final, whereas I was extremely nervous beforehand. And I will be nervous on the day, I'm not going to deny that. It's still a cup semi, and it's still a chance to go on and try and win a quadruple treble, but after tonight, I just feel like there is a lot more positivity amongst the team, and a lot more between the team and the coaches too. Tonight wasn't perfect by any means, but it's definitely a step beyond what we've seen over the past 2-3 match days. So I'm happy with it. The 4-2-3-1 is definitely the way forward from now on. I think we look a lot better moving forward and defensively. Laxalt tonight was absolutely tremendous. I thought he was just brilliant, and he's just so much better than Greg Taylor, and gives me a lot more confidence both moving forward and defensively on that left hand side. So I think 4-2-3-1 suits us perfect at the moment. Perfect's maybe a bit of an overstatement, but suits a lot better. And heading into Hampden, it fills me with confidence. So I'm excited, and that is the 3 things that I have learned and picked up from tonight, which I pass on to you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Big day for the channel coming ahead, something that big to announce. That'll be in the next video, and then that's pretty much it all. So if you've enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. Sorry about the ring light, it's dark outside. It doesn't help when you record at these hours, but I'll see you all next time.